Outlook has some great options for your email. Let's go and have a look at them. So I'm going to click File. And in the options here from the backstage, I've got a number of different areas. I'm going to click on Mail. First of all, I've got the choice of how my emails are automatically going to be composed in HTML, rich text, or plain text. And we talked about that in the previous video. But generally, HTML allows you to have all the nice formatting that you perhaps associate with a word processing program. So you can put in pictures, nice fonts, underline. We can also use the spelling and autocorrect. So if I want to, before I send any email, I can always check the spelling before sending. And I've got the additional caveat where I can ignore the original message text in the reply or forward, because you don't want to be checking the original sender's spelling. Then I've got create or modify signatures for messages. Let's have a look at that. I'm just going to cancel this at the moment. And I've got my email here, and I'm going to reply to this email. And here's my original reply in the email. And I'm just going to say, thanks for letting me know. And I always sign emails with just kind regards, Graham. But what I could do is I could come into here, press on signature, and it automatically puts it in for me. I could actually set it up so that every email that I compose before I even start typing has that signature in. Let's have a look where I do that. I don't want to save the changes. I go back to the File, Options, Mail, and then Signatures. And you can see in the plain reply signature, that is what we've had before. I could create a new one. I could create a new formal signature. Click OK. And then what I could do is I could say kindest regards, Graham. But what I could do perhaps is I could perhaps make that bold. I could underline it. I could insert a business card. If, for example, I had created my own business card as a contact, I could insert it here. Let's pretend I'm Paul Larkin, the person whose business card we did before. I could say kindest regards, Paul. And then I can come into business cards, come into the personal contacts. There is Paul Larkin. Click OK. And that will now always be in my signature, my own business card. I can also choose, do I want it to be in new messages? And every time I reply, do I want it to be automatically populated? Let's have a look how that looks now. So if I click OK, now when I reply to this email, you will see that my business card has automatically been attached and it says kindest regards, Paul. Just going to go and undo those settings. So I'm going to go File, Options, into your mail, into your signatures, and in my formal signature, there we go. So signatures, very, very useful way to always have a formal ending to your email and to always put your contact information. Stationery and fonts, so you may have a certain default style to emails that you want to send. Now I've seen this used on a number of occasions. I've never normally seen it used well, I have to be honest. I'd recommend just sticking with the default fonts and colours that are used. Sometimes I receive emails with coloured backgrounds, and I don't really feel it adds anything to the email. But that's my personal preference. And so do whatever you are proud to send. And do whatever you feel is right for your email. But this is where you would change it. You can customize how items are marked as read using the reading pane. So for example, you could choose that items are read when viewed in the reading pane. What you could say is wait 5 seconds before marking it as read. The impact of this is, as soon as you select on an email, at the moment it's marked as read. But you might suddenly want to actually, well, no, I'll read that later and I'll move on to the next one. By saying wait 5 seconds, that actually allows for that. It means that when you actually select an email, if you, I'll read that later, and move to another email, As long as you do that within 5 seconds, that email will be still marked as unread. Just when the selection changes, you can mark the item as read, or you can just single key reading using a spacebar. So you've got a number of options you can play with as to how you're going to change an email from being unread to read. Moving down, we have the message arrival. You can choose if it wants to play a sound, change the mouse pointer, show a little envelope icon in the taskbar, display a desktop alert, and what that is if I click on this, I can then change it in the bottom right, the settings, but you can preview it. There it is. This is a preview of a desktop alert, so you might have seen those on people's machines. And that's how you change the settings in this area. Now it depends on how often you get emails and what you're doing in the day-to-day activities as to whether you want to be notified of new emails or not. We then have conversation cleanup. We'll look at this in a later video, but this is where we're going to change the settings as to how you're cleaning up your inbox. For replies and forwards, when you reply to a message, you'll notice that the replies I've sent have always had the original email in the text. This is where I can change that information. One of the very useful ones as well is commenting. So if I preface comments with my name, now what happens is if I click OK, and I now reply to this email, and I come down here and say, no, I don't agree, you'll see that actually my name has been put in front of it. Very useful if you're having a long email, perhaps of meeting minutes, and you want to go and add comments to it. Of course, this is a plain text email, so therefore we don't have any formatting, but in HTML, it often applies colors and it also provides even greater visibility to this. We'll go back to the options. Mail. Some of these other options are now a little bit more advanced. You can change the settings about when it saves your messages, about sending your messages, tracking your messages, format, and you're welcome to go and explore these. But for the purposes of this video and getting you started on Outlook, we've covered the main areas: the replies and forwards, putting the original email and allowing commenting automatically, displaying how messages arrive, what notification you get, a key area which is your signatures, and also auto-check the spelling. So we're just going to click OK and move on to the next video.